What's up, everybody? Welcome, all you Washington football maniacs. It is your host, Brandon Scott, with my guy, Greg Sykes. Hope everybody had a blessed and fun holiday. Ate too much, drank too much. I think we all did a little bit of both. So definitely on Thanksgiving, but that's a whole nother episode. So today we're going to go over expectations. We're going to go over the schedule. What are the expectations and how many games this team can realistically win going forward? We're looking at the offensive and the defensive side of the ball, and maybe a couple players that are kind of playing for their jobs going into next off season. So let's get started. So as we stand, our beloved Washington Commanders are 4-8, fourth in the NFC East. Especially for today, the Giants winning a tight game against the Patriots, so they have leapfrogged us, and we are now in last place. Now, looking at the schedule going forward, next game up is at home against the Dolphins on December 3rd. Then we go on the road against the LA Rams, the New Jersey Jets. Oh my Lord, the Jets. The New York Jets and the San Francisco Giants at home, or San Francisco 49ers, excuse me, y'all, at home December 31st, and the Dallas Cowboys to round out the regular season. If I can get the words out, Greg, tonight.
That's all right. Maybe they would do better playing baseball than football. I mean,
I know I had a mixture of baseball and basketball.
That's all right. That's all right.
So we're going to get through this tonight, man. So looking at the schedule, Greg, I mean, realistically, how many games can the Commanders win these next 5 games?
Well, I'll tell you what, if the defense plays the way that they have, which obviously there's going to be some changes made, then honestly, I don't see them winning any of these games except, maybe the Jets give us a Christmas present on New Year or Christmas Eve. Honestly, that is the only game, honestly, that all of us are looking at going, there may be one more win, and that could be the Jets, maybe the Rams, because the Rams have just they've kind of been a shell themselves. Matthew Stafford hasn't played the entire season, and when he hasn't necessarily played up to his standards this year. So, that game is just a toss-up there. So it's wild card. But, at best, honestly, I see this team at, how many games you're playing? 17. So I'm seeing this game or this team at best, Brandon, at 6-11. Now, of course, that Cowboys-Commanders game, will the Cowboys be resting all of their players? It's kind of the question that we had last year. They wound up not resting their players, and the Commanders wound up beating them. So, it's one of those games where, are you playing against their second and third strings? Maybe you wind up winning that game, but I mean, even if the Commanders wind up, at 7-10, it shows no improvement. Obviously, coaching changes are going to be made. We've already started making those coaching changes, obviously. So my expectations moving forward is basically let's just, get through the end of the season without any major injuries. Let's continue to develop guys like Sam Howell. Let's just see what we have out of Emmanuel Forbes and, really evaluate some of these guys that we have picked up in the last few seasons. Evaluate our guys who are going to be free agents that we still have on the team. Are these guys that are worth building around, or do we, just let them go next year? So a lot of evaluations ahead, but certainly playoffs. No playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs ain't happening.
No.
So rest assured, we're not going to be in the playoff race. I think the last 2 games kind of officially put us out of the playoff race. But, looking at the schedule going forward, I mean, obviously Miami, Tua has been kind of underwhelming lately, but their offense, I mean, Tyreek Hill is that's obviously a loss. And really the 49ers and the Cowboys both are losses. Now, like you said, the intriguing game to look at is maybe Dallas, because maybe they rest their starters and maybe we had a chance to kind of see what we could do against them at the last game of the year. But, I mean, even then, this Dallas Cowboys team is very, very deep. But, yeah, I think the Jets are a winnable game because, their quarterback position right now, I know there's rumors that Aaron Rodgers might come back, but how effective can he really be? coming back that early from an injury like that. Zach Wilson has clearly he's not the future in New York at quarterback because he's just not very popular with the team. And you know, we'll see what it comes to Zach Wilson. But I think that's definitely a winnable game. Now, like you mentioned, the Rams they've been kind of up and down, a roller coaster ride this year, where they beat some good teams, but they've lost to some teams they should have beat. You really don't know what to expect from them, especially at the quarterback position with Matthew Stafford. So I'm definitely think that it really goes off of the effort of the team. I think if they play them hard, it could be a winnable game. But I'm with you, man. I think we're going to end the year with 5 to 6 wins, and and then we got to look forward to next year. So it's been a tough year, man. It's been a roller coaster year, but I think it's definitely a transitional year because, like you said, Greg, a lot of changes are coming. Jack Del Rio has been released. He's been fired, obviously. The DB coach is gone. Obviously, looking in the offseason, Ron Rivera, chances are he's gone. Eric Bieniemy, we'll see. It's not a guarantee that he's here because he's been very underwhelming play calling. And a lot of people have not really said they want to see him at a head coaching position. So we'll see if if he's a choice at offensive coordinator for this new ownership group. But yeah, it's just the schedule. We could. I know we're really optimistic going into the season. I think I had us winning 10, 11 games, and it's always crazy in hindsight, right? Because it's like you try to be optimistic, but it's just another one of those years, man. But I think that one thing to kind of look forward to is the fact that we do have a new owner that he wants to win. He's a local guy. He understands the pulse and how important this fan base is to the city and the surrounding states. So I think they're going to get this team right. So changing real quick, we're going to get into the offensive side of the ball. I'll pull up the stats real fast for the team going forward. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Because it's not showing me the team stats. So, looking at the offensive side of the ball, offensive line has been up and down, but mostly down.
Yes.
Distribution of the football, Jahan Dotson hasn't had that breakout year that a lot of us expected him to have. The running back position, you can say that it's been solid, but in my opinion, we're still missing that everyday down lead back that we've had in years past in the mold of a Clinton Portis or an Alfred Morris. And so looking at the offensive side of the ball, what are your expectations for the offense? And if there's one player that you can choose who these last 5 games are going to be the defining factor, whether he's here or not next year, who would it be?
Those are very good questions. Because honestly, I'm going to always go for who we have as far as our youth movement. Certainly I like Brian Robertson. I think part of the reason why we haven't really seen him, be that, that every down back has been because our offensive line has been so terrible. They can't always open holes for him, and he still, but you give him the ball enough and you see flashes of what he can do. I mean, he doesn't really look that fast, but he's a big bruiser and he can run the ball. He'll run the rock on you. And so I still think that he can be that back. Honestly, I think Antonio Gibson's probably going to be gone next year. I just feel that, I just feel that, maybe we make room a little bit more, giving the ball obviously to Chris Rodriguez. The times I've seen Rodriguez in there, he has played very well. Now, he has coughed the ball up, but, Antonio Gibson has had that issue too. So I feel better about maybe giving up someone like Antonio Gibson and, keeping Robinson and Chris Rodriguez in the backfield and maybe picking up a third guy that will compete with them and push them as far as, who will be that lead back. But I think, honestly, for me, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. It all starts up front. And, what I've seen the argument on social media, people are already talking about the draft. And they're talking about if Washington can just somehow get into that top 5 pick, why not go for Marvin Harrison Jr.? And I mean, he sounds like I mean, I loved watching his daddy. I'm assuming that it was his daddy, right? Marvin Harrison. He was a fantastic wide receiver. Reminded me of Art Monk a
Yeah,
lot.
oh
You know,
yeah.
very quiet. He just went out there and did his job. So Marvin Harrison Jr. really, I mean, he looks like a very exciting player. He hasn't quite made up his mind if he's going to enter the draft or not. I think he will, but a lot of people right now are already starting to talk about the draft. And so, because they're talking about the draft, they're starting to get into these arguments as far as, if that star quarterback's there, I know we got Sam Howell, but we need to get him. Or if Marvin Harrison's there, we need to pick up these skilled positions that are, game changers. And I understand that opinion as well. But also, there's the other voices that are saying, no, have you seen our offensive line? We need a left tackle. We need some guys in there. We need a left tackle. We need a right tackle. We just need somebody who is a difference maker on the offensive line, and that will make your existing skill players that much more powerful. And that I get as well. The only thing is, when you enter the draft, Brandon, you can't be reaching for these guys. So, that is going to be where your analytics and all that come into play. Is the analytics will tell you the best player to pick at the position you're going to be picking. And you can't always pick for need. That's the thing that people don't always quite get. And I don't always, grasp that either, because I'm like, well, you need an offensive lineman, but yet you pick, a running back or something like that. I'm like, why are we doing this? It doesn't make sense. But it's all about, the higher quality talent at that position. It doesn't matter. That person's going to come in and upgrade that position no matter what, and he is worth that pick at that particular point. Now, that's the reason why you also get teams that will just move back in the draft, because they don't need that position, or they're willing to trade out of that in order to go down to get the players who are worth that pick. If you are picking best player available, but you're also wanting, positions of need. So it's a lot that goes into that. And I'm sorry to get on the tangent of the draft already, but it kind of ties in. I'm tying it in, folks. Don't click off yet. I just I think for me personally, as far as skill players on offense, obviously, I think we're still going to have a good tight end to push Logan Thomas. Logan is starting to get up there in age, and he's injured a little bit more. This year's been pretty healthy, but we need somebody else. I mean, John Bates has actually had a pretty good season. I'm still question mark on Cole Turner. Some people said, well, he sucks at blocking, so that's the reason why he hasn't been playing. I don't know. He seems to play really well every time he goes into the game. So, there you go. But we do need some of these other positions. Wide receiver, we're always good, but that's why I kind of question the thing with the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick that a lot of people are salivating over. But then again, I think they're also looking at Terry McLaurin not having the best of the years. Jahan Dotson, like you said, not really having the breakout year that we thought he was going to have. And these are the two wide receivers that I would assume are, 1A and 1B, in my opinion. And of course, Curtis Samuel, he's always serviceable, but I don't think he's going to be back next year. So, suddenly maybe you are in the market for a wide receiver. I don't think Damian Brown is going to be back next year. So maybe you are in the market for a wide receiver. But still, I don't know. I guess I'm a boring person, Brandon. I just feel like you got to look at what's up front, because when you build up that offensive line and the offensive line is able to, just give you such great pass protection that your quarterback has all day long to pass to these receivers, then Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, whoever is out there catching football, they're going to get open for you. And then you're going to have huge open run lanes for Brian Robinson, Chris Rodriguez, whoever's going to be in the backfield. So those are picks that I would think that we need to look at going forward. Whether if that's somebody you pick up in free agency or the draft. Personally, I prefer to get as young as possible up front and all over really. So yeah, I think those are the changes I would probably be looking at. Cutting loose of Antonio Gibson, Amy Brown, Curtis Samuel probably not going to be here next year. And then certainly, I think everybody will agree, upgrade that offensive line.
Yeah, I'm a roll with you, man. I think that left tackle is definitely the first pick I'm making. We need a franchise left tackle. We've had very, very solidified offensive lines in years past, and the fact that it's been depleted to the point it has it hurts. Because Trent Williams, man, we were spoiled by Trent Williams. We had a lot of good linemen in his organization, but Trent Williams was my guy. I definitely think left tackle. I think that Leno, he's done, man. I don't think he's going to be effective anymore at left tackle, so I don't see him being retained. So looking at the mock draft, and yeah, but you brought up a good fact. I think that De'Ami Brown and Curtis Samuel are both gone. I think Curtis Samuel is definitely going to go seek money elsewhere, and De'Ami Brown, I don't think he's it, man. He's been too inconsistent, and when you need him to show up the most, he falters, especially with drop catches. Balls going through his hands. I don't think he's it, man. So Marvin Harrison Jr., because look, man, I know we both remember watching Marvin Harrison play for the Colts, man, and how good of a wide receiver he was, playing with Peyton Manning and, the success he had. And so he definitely comes from good stock. But other names I'm looking for in the draft, man, let's see, because I know other people were saying Drake May out of North Carolina. I think we already have a quarterback from North Carolina, so I think we're straight on Drake May. But looking at it, Latu Latu, if we're looking at defensive end out of UCLA, he's up there. They got him at number 4. But two names I'm looking at offensive tackle, man, is Armoris. I'm probably butchering his name, man. But Mims out of Georgia and J.C. Latham out of Alabama. I think those are two names to really look for at left tackle, man. I think they could be franchise left tackles for years to come. But here's another thing to look at too. We have the Chicago pick. So realistically, it's a second round pick, but it's kind of a first round pick because it's probably the first pick in the second round. So you could probably grab both. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to get. When I say both, I mean both positions. Obviously, you're not going to grab, one of those tackles and a receiver like, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be gone by that point. But I definitely think you can address both positions in the draft going forward, man, because we have a lot of flexibility with our draft assets, man. So, the light at the end of the tunnel, as far as hitting on draft picks, I'm with you, man. But you got to hit them. So I'm definitely looking at left tackle. We have to solidify this line because, if we want Brian Robinson to be that 1,000-yard back, if we want Sam Howell to be protected and be that guy going for years to come, we have to protect him. We have to open up those running lanes, and that starts with the line. Every great team starts with a line. If you look at any championship team, how did it start? They built the line first.
Exactly.
So, if you look at Philadelphia, what was one of the first things they built was the offensive and the defensive line. So, the fact that Jalen Hurts has evolved the way he has because he's been able to do so behind an all-pro line. So we have to build his line up. So, like I said, if you look at, the mock draft, quarterback is definitely in it, but I don't think we need quarterback. Another one's Jaden Daniels at LSU. He's been looking good. But I'm looking at a lot of tackles, man, that we could pick up. Another one is Kingsley Suamatia out of BYU. He's another candidate. So there's definitely guys in the first round who can be that left tackle for us. So before we roll, man, we're going to the final side of the ball, the defense. Now, looking at the defense, again, Jack Del Rio was relieved of his duties as defensive coordinator. I think that was a move that a lot of people thought should have happened a while ago, and they're relieved that it finally happened. Now, is he the sole reason why the season went the way it was? No, I don't believe so. But I definitely believe that he was the first domino to fall for changes to come. So if looking at the defense, obviously our DBs need some work. Do we truly have a number one corner? No. Do we re-sign Cam Curl? The linebacker core needs some work, and the defensive line. I do believe that Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne can be all pros again, but we have to find a bookend or two, whether it's in the draft or free agency, to help solidify the defensive line. So, kind of with the offense, Greg, what are your expectations with this defense going forward, if any? And I know, right? And if you had to highlight one guy on the defensive side of the ball who these next 5 games are going to kind of make or break his tenure here in DC, who would it be?
Oh, okay. So, well, yeah, expectations. I'll be curious to see what changes that Ron Rivera is going to make in these upcoming games, because obviously he's going to be more of a part of the defense, probably going to be the defensive coordinator calling the defenses. I want to see what he has left, what he's going to do different than what Jack Del Rio did, for one thing. So I'll be curious. My expectation is I want to see something different that was not working under Jack Del Rio that would be working under Ron Rivera. And outside of that, I don't have honestly, any other expectations other than, I just would like to see them cut down on, big chunk plays and those big touchdown plays. But, as far as a player that is really playing for his career, if you center in on one, it's kind of hard to say, because I think you're looking at so many that really, honestly, I think are on the bubble. A lot of people are going to say, well, of course it's Emmanuel Forbes because he was our number 1 pick this year and he has not lived up to that. Well, I can maybe give him a little bit of grace this year. Let's see what happens under a different defensive scheme, a different coordinator next year. Maybe that coordinator knows how to develop him, and maybe he gets with somebody like Darrell Green in the offseason, and that helps him. So let's not give up on him just yet. So I'm not going to say Emmanuel Forbes. I would say probably Benjamin St-Juste. He's really going to have to show us something in the next few games. I honestly don't see him back with the Commanders next year. I can't remember. I think next year would be maybe his third or fourth season. I can't remember.
Leave third
season. Okay, so third season. I mean, he would still be under a rookie contract, so maybe he does come back. But honestly, I have not seen anything great from him. I've said it before, the times that he has made some great plays or good plays. Honestly, it came from the fact that they didn't throw the flag on him, because you could throw a PI on him every single time that he's guarding somebody. He's horrible in man-to-man coverage, and he gets burnt every single time like toast. And maybe he is better, in a zone type coverage that seemed like the Commanders never really wanted to run under Jack Del Rio. And that is one thing that I had to comment on one of my other videos that were like, what are you talking about? We never run man. And I'm like, what? We never run man? That we exclusively run man coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see our corners there on an island to themselves all of the time? We run man coverage, and these corners can't take it. But it's not just Benjamin St-Juste. I mean, honestly, for me, I would be okay moving on from him, because he hasn't really shown any growth in year 2. He's shown us more deficiencies, honestly. It's really hard to say. I would say I think that Deron Payne, John Allen, I think they're safe, obviously, because, they got their deals. They're still, one of our best defensive players, 2 of our best defensive players on that side of the football. I would like to see more out of them. But they do need a good elite bookend to go along with them. I'm great with KJ Henry. Actually, I'm more than great with KJ Henry. I think that he has earned a spot on one of those ends there. He needs somebody else on the other side who could really greatly complement him, because if you can find that good defensive end, Go along with KJ Henry. That could be your starters there. You're still going to have Hill, Smith Williams, and guys like that rotating in. We've forgotten about Shaka Tony. I know he was,
Yeah.
he could come back next year as well. But honestly, Brandon, the biggest area on defense, other than, of course, secondary, so easy to talk about, but the linebacking crew has just been a bitter disappointment. I have just, Barton came back this past Thursday. Saw him. He is horrible in coverage. He made a play or two here at the line, but he's not very good in coverage at all. I felt Cole Holcomb was much better in coverage than he was.
Yeah.
Jamin Davis, I've just seen him kind of, sporadic. A good play here and there, and then he kind of goes away, gets burnt, whatever. I think that he's another one who's kind of playing for his life in Washington. I just think he needs to step it up because he was the number one draft pick last year, right? Or first rounder last year. He needs to step up and play like that. That's something that you have to think about, Brandon. At the beginning of this season, we had 4 number ones on that offensive line, a number one in the linebacking crew, a number one in the secondary, and your defense can't produce any better than that. Is that mind-blowing? I mean, all of those first rounder, I keep saying number one, but you guys know what I'm saying. First rounder draft picks on that defensive line.
Yeah.
And we're almost dead last in several areas. And the one that means the most, giving up points. I mean, it's inexcusable. So, yeah, I would say Jamin Davis, Benjamin st-Juste, those are 2 guys that I'm really looking at saying, what can you give us the rest of the season? Because honestly, I'd be okay moving along from them next season. Finding somebody who's going to be a little bit more consistent, and just be able to play within the system, whatever that system is going to be next year. And again, I know that these guys are on rookie contracts, so I mean, do you move on from a rookie? Well, I should say, as someone who's on a rookie contract, I know it also deals with money, but we also want to deal with talent as well. And we got the money to bring in some talent free agencies. So, those are 2 guys that I'm looking at the most. But I'm also looking in the draft. I'm also looking at free agency next year to see who that we can upgrade on that defensive line and in the linebacking crew.
Yeah, I agree with all points, man. I think you hit all points, man. On the defensive side of the ball, man, the first thing I'm doing is find a shutdown corner. First thing I'm doing. And I'm going to slide Forbes over to the number 2 because, look, if you look at certain matchups, especially against A.J. Brown, he's just not built for that. If we can find a legit shutdown corner, then I would slide Forbes and let Forbes work on these number 2s and these number 3s. st-Juste, like you said, rookie scale contract, so I'm giving him 1 more year. And I'm putting him in the slot. And I'm going to let him be the slot corner. And I can see what he can do. Because I think with his size, he can be utilized. It's just, he's just not that man-on-man. He's not that guy to say, go out there and shut down the number 1 receiving option. Nah, it's not happening. He because like you said, most of the time he has to foul to keep up with some of these guys. And so that's why I think slot is really the best position for him. I'm not even looking at the draft when it comes to the DBs, man. Go out there, spend some money, go get a lockdown. Or go, use some capital, go get a lockdown corner. That's where we need to start. Looking at linebacker, I'm with you, man. Barton, very underwhelming. I think we need, if you look at the defenses in DC, man, when we had leaders there, like your LeVars, right? Your guys who's going to be that quarterback of the defense, which is middle linebacker. London Fletcher was that guy for a long time, and we're missing that leadership. I'm saying, go spend some more money. Go get a middle linebacker. Go find a guy who can command his defense like a quarterback, who can be that leader, and let Jonathan Allen be that leader on the D line. That's where I'm at. I think they need to spend a little bit of money. Go get that middle linebacker. Go get that shutdown corner. Because look, I mean, if you look at it, I'm not going to say that most successful teams in the last 20 years, we had what, a shutdown corner, whether it was Josh Norman, whether it was D'Angelo Hall, and then if you look at middle linebacker, I already mentioned London Fletcher. So I think if you fulfill those two positions, man, you're going to see a different defense next year. But this D line, I'm with you. KJ Henry, I think, needs to be given an opportunity to start. Now, on the other side, maybe use a draft pick, get a guy on another rookie scale, and go from there. But I think that if you look at this team overall, the fact that we do have, 4 picks in the first 100 picks, I mean, we have draft capital this year, which hasn't always been the case, especially after the RG3 trade, which we kind of depleted most of our high picks, man. We have a lot of picks that can be high impact players. And looking at the money, we have cap room. So go out there, get that shutdown, go get that middle linebacker, add more leadership, add more guys to lead by example on the defensive end. And I think we will be good, man. I think the defense, just like the offense, we have a foundation. And I think Forbes ain't broken. It's just with his body type. Now, I'm going to say, yeah, I still believe that we should have picked Christian Gonzalez. I think that he was more pro ready. He has the body to be that guy. But, there's no crying over spilt milk. I mean, there ain't no point, right? So we have to look at what we got. Emmanuel Forbes, ball hawk, yes. But his body type, man, he's not a guy who's going to be able to take down a running back. He's not a guy who's going to be able to take down a tight end. He's a guy he has to add a little bit of weight. And with him being exclusively a speed guy, that could be dangerous because by adding more muscle, you might lose some of that speed. But I'd rather him be a guy who can tackle, who can make those plays, on the run game as instead of being exclusively a ball hawk, because it just ain't working. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think that going forward, my expectations are, I don't know if the defense is going to be any better because Ron Rivera's going to be calling the plays. So, I mean, I think that it is what it is. I mean, you obviously there's going to be obvious cuts, and the people that aren't going to be here next year, they're playing for the next contract, whether it's elsewhere or whatever it may be. But I think it is what it is, and you get what you get when it comes to this defense, because I don't necessarily see it getting better. Now, I will say this. I do believe they need to re-sign Cam Curl. I think Cam Curl, re-signing him should be a priority. I thought it was something that should have been done this season. So I definitely want to see that as high on the list of priorities when it comes to the offseason. So, yeah, I think that's, we both have pretty much the same expectations. This team is just, I hate to say it, but the season's over. So you can't help but to look at the mock draft, because I think everybody in that organization, everybody in the locker room knows that. And right now you're playing for pride, and, there's certain people that are playing for jobs, but, it's not even December. And unfortunately, the season is over. So, yeah, but, I don't know. I'm trying to be an optimist, man, but it's just, that's it, man. People are playing for jobs, whether it's elsewhere or whatnot, but it's it. But changes are coming. Like I said, we have too many assets, too much cap room, got a new ownership group. We're definitely going to have a new head coach. So at the light at the end of the tunnel, we can finally see it. So I think you're going to see a different team. And I think they're going to rebuild this team. Josh Harris has proven, Magic Johnson has proven that they know how to build organizations. So, going off past, Josh Harris with the 76ers and Magic Johnson with pretty much everything he touches. So, they're successful. So they want to see changes, man. So before we roll, man, you got anything else you want to cover, or?
No, that's pretty much it. The only thing, and I did not bring it up with me, and I keep forgetting it, folks. Since it's Christmas time, my wife has made book bags, or you can use it as a laptop bag or whatever. I will bring it with me on my next video, give you a shoot. Maybe I'll even record like a little quick commercial of it or something like that. She's created one for the Washington Commanders. So if you folks are interested, I will leave a link in the description to the bag. And it is wonderful. Like I said, I've got one here, and I'll probably use it for, I've got like 10,000 laptops around here. So, I'll probably use it as more of a laptop bag. But, if you need a book bag or anything like that for school, for work or anything like that, and you want to support the channel, you want to support, basically it's my wife's Etsy, and you just want to, you want to support the Washington Commanders, there you go. It is a neat looking bag. I will bring it up. I keep forgetting to do it, but I will bring it up. She has also done some blankets, some football blankets with all of the NFL teams' logos on it. So you check that out. It's Catastic Art. So just look that up. Cat with a C, as in the kitty cat. Look that up on Etsy. She's made a lot of cool football related stuff, as well as anything else. And send her a message if you're not a fan of the Washington Commanders. And I appreciate you watching the video if you aren't. If you would like for her to make a bag for your favorite team, message her. She'll be glad to do it. She is fantastic at her artwork, and she'll be glad to do that for you. I just wanted to put that in, that shameless plug. I will bring the bag up the next time. I totally am meant to do that. And Brandon, turkey brain here. So that's all I got, man.
Oh, look, you ain't got to tell me, man. I was going over MLB teams before the episode. My mind is still in Thanksgiving. So,
yep.
But hey, y'all, I definitely recommend taking a look at it, because I'm gonna pick me up a book bag, man, because they look dope, man. So definitely look at the merchandise, man, because it is some good stuff, man. So definitely recommend you guys check out the link. If you're not a member of the Washington Football Maniacs, definitely consider it. We have a lot of good content coming out during the season, during the off season. We're gonna keep this thing rolling, man. So definitely check it out. We're gonna have guests on, and we're definitely gonna start looking at the off season, free agency, the draft, head coaching vacancy. We got a lot of stuff we're going to cover, so definitely tune in. Wherever you get your podcast, a 5-star review is much appreciated. And on the YouTube side, definitely like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what are your expectations for the rest of the season. So definitely comment below. So I hope everybody had a blessed and safe Thanksgiving. Definitely, if you're not home, definitely be safe on the roads. And we will see you guys next time. So hail to the Commanders, and peace. Everybody, Have a good night.